Yeah, it's totally fine with me if people want to join without camera. Like, I totally get that sometimes you just want to listen and not be seen. As long
Yep.
as we see a couple of people to keep our rhythm going, then it's
Yep.
perfect.
Beautiful.
All right. Good. Okay. Well, everybody, I think we're here. So we'll get started. We're going to start with the body scan. So I'm going to mute everybody. And if you can all lay flat on your back. And we'll get ready to get started. Hopefully everybody's feeling nice and calm today and ready for spring to finally be here. If you're in Alberta anyways, that's what you're thinking. I suppose if you're in California, you've had spring for probably a couple months already. So we're going to start our body scan at the top of our head. So just go ahead and roll your head gently a little bit from side to side and just see how your head and neck and shoulders are feeling today. And from your head and neck with your shoulders, just noticing how your shoulder blades feel today on the floor. Does one side feel heavier than the other? Can you feel them pressing into the floor? Do they feel light? Do they feel heavy? And moving from your shoulder blades down through into your arms and noticing how your arms are today. Do you have them laying flat on the floor? Are they palms facing up or palms down? Neither is right or wrong. We're just taking notice of how you feel. And then moving from your arms back into your torso, coming down through your torso and into your belly and into your low back. Noticing how they feel today. Does your low back feel like it's tight? Does it feel arched off the floor? And moving from your back and into your hips. Noticing how your hips feel today. Do you feel tilted to one side maybe? Do you feel light? And moving down through your hips into your legs. Noticing how your legs feel today. And through your legs and down into your ankles and your feet. Take notice of how far apart you have your legs right now, how your feet feel on the floor. And then we're going to start today with our flatten and tilts to warm up. So we're going to bend our knees and bring our feet to standing flat on the floor. So your arms will stay beside you. And I usually like to start with the flatten. And if anybody does have any back issues, make sure you do these movements very small. And because we do have a new person in here today, I'm just going to remind everybody that somatics should never, ever hurt. You're going to stay in your comfort zone. If anything does hurt you, try to do it smaller or even try doing it in your imagination. And the main key with somatics is to smooth out our release of the contraction. And we're going to do that as slow and smooth as we can. So we're going to start with our flatten. I like to do this on an exhale. So we're going to inhale first. And then exhale, you're going to roll your pubic bone towards your ribs. Bring your ribs down towards your pubic bone as you flatten your low back into the floor. Hold for a moment. And now super, super slow with control. Release the contraction in your abdominal muscles. As slow and smooth as you can as you exhale, or inhale, sorry, you should be on an inhale now. And when you're at the end of that release, make sure to rest. And then we're going to do that same one again. Inhale first. And exhale, rolling your pubic bone towards your ribs, bringing your ribs down towards your pubic bone as you flatten your low back into the floor. Hold for a moment. And now super, super slow with control, releasing in your tummy muscles as slow and smooth as you can. And when you're at the end of the release, make sure to rest. And then we'll repeat that one again, starting with an inhale first. And exhale, rolling your pubic bone up towards your ribs. Bring your ribs down towards your pubic bone as you flatten your low back into the floor. Hold for a moment. Inhale, super slowly, releasing the contraction in your tummy as slow and smooth as you can. And at the end of the release, make sure to rest. Now we're going to go into a tilt, and we're going to keep this tilt very, very small, and we're going to do it with an inhale. So we're going to inhale, and you're going to roll your roll your tailbone forward and down into the floor. Just a small little arch of your lower back. So your low back should now be just slightly arched off the floor. Hold for a moment. Exhale, super, super slowly begin to release as your pelvis slowly comes back to its neutral position, as slow and smooth as you can. And make sure to rest. And we'll repeat that one again. Inhale, rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor as your low back gently arches off the floor. Hold for just a moment. And exhale as you super, super slowly release the contraction in your back and in your hips. Releasing with control. And making sure to rest when you've finished. And we're going to do that one more time. So inhale, rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor, gently arching your low back off of the floor. Hold for just a moment. And exhale, super, super slowly. Begin to release as slow and smooth as you can. Remembering that this slow, smooth, controlled release is the whole key to somatics. The slower and smoother you can go, the more release of your muscles you're going to get. When you finish that one, make sure to rest. And then we're going to put those two movements together. So we're going to start with the arch. So we're going to inhale and arch, gently tilting your tailbone, rolling it forward and down into the floor. Hold for just a moment. And exhale as you super slowly begin to release the arch in your low back. Super, super slow. And at the very end of the release, you're going to go straight into the flatten by bringing your pubic bone towards your ribs and your ribs down to your pubic bone as your low back flattens into the floor. Hold for just a moment. And then super slowly begin to release. Slowly releasing in your tummy muscles, really paying attention to those tummy muscles as you slowly, with control, release. And at the very end of the release, going into the tilt again, rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor as your low back gently arches off the floor. Hold for a moment. Super slowly begin to release in your back now. Slowly letting your hips come back to neutral. Slow and smooth as you can. And at the end of the release, going into flatten again, bringing your pubic bone to your ribs and your ribs down to your pubic bone as your low back flattens into the floor. Hold for a moment and super slowly begin to release now in your tummy muscles. As slow and smooth as you can. Really working for a nice, smooth release. And at the end of the release of your tummy muscles, going into your tilt again, rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor. Gently arching your low back off the floor. Hold for a moment. And super slowly begin to release in your back. As slow and smooth as you can. And at the end of that release, going into flatten one more time, bringing your pubic bone to your ribs to your pubic bone as your low back flattens into the floor. Holding for a moment and slowly releasing. Super, super slow and smooth. And at the end of this release, you're just going to rest. We're going to add in a new one today that most of you haven't done. We're going to start with a cross knee drop. So anybody who does have hip issues, please be careful with this one. Make sure to stay in your comfort zone. So what I'd like you all to do is cross your right leg over your left leg. And just crossing it to where it's comfortable. So if you're looking at Courtney in my screen right now, you can see she's crossed with her foot on her leg. You can do it that way. Or, Courtney, can you comfortably cross that leg even a bit more? Yes. Or you could cross like that. If you're comfortable doing it this way where they're completely crossed, give it a try. So now what we're going to do is slowly, with control, we're going to let those legs drift down towards the right. So you're slowly going to let your knees start drifting down to the right towards the floor. Your hips will be lifting off of the floor as you do this. On the left side, your hip will lift. You're gently and slowly going only as far as you can go comfortably. And when you've gone as far as you can go comfortably, you're going to bring your legs back up to vertical. So you're going to slowly begin to switch direction, bringing them back to where you started. And when you're back to center, rest for a moment. And then we're going to repeat that. So slowly lowering the legs to the right, slow and smooth. And if you're finding that you're wanting to let your back lift off the floor and come towards those legs a little bit, you definitely can do that as long as you're staying in your comfort zone. And when you've gone as far as you can go comfortably, taking your knees back to center again. And we're going to do that same one more time, but we're going to add in an arm reach this time. So now what I'd like you to do is take your left arm and lengthen it above your head, but on the floor. Now, some of you I know have some shoulder issues, so be careful. If this hurts you, please don't do it. If you can, your arm will be lengthened along the floor, reaching past your head. And I want you just to go ahead and just think about reaching that left arm, kind of lengthen it and reach it. And now as you're reaching that arm, you're going to lower those knees towards the right again. So your left arm is reaching up and your legs are now drifting gently with control to the right. And when you've gone as far as you can go comfortably, you'll switch direction and bring those knees back to center again. And then we're going to do that one more time. So reaching that left arm, really thinking of lengthening it. I like to wiggle my fingers when I'm doing this one to kind of give that extra little bit of a reach. And then slowly letting those knees drift to the right. Slow and smooth, staying in your comfort zone. Really focusing. And when you've gone as far as you can go comfortably, bringing your knees back to center. Excellent. And we're going to switch sides. So you're going to go ahead and bring your left arm back down beside your body, and you're going to switch your legs now. So uncross your right leg and cross over the left leg. And we're going to start with the knee drift down to the side. So slowly with control, letting your knees now drift to the left. You should notice that that right hip lifts right up off the floor as you lower those knees. Holding for just a moment. And then slowly with control, bringing them back to center. So we're working with all the muscles that we use for trunk rotation right now. And that's why you should notice that hip lifting up off the floor. So you get that nice rotation in your trunk. Repeating that one more time, slowly with control, letting those knees lowering down to the left side. When you've gone as far as you can go comfortably, slowly bringing them back up to center. And then we're going to add in that opposite arm reach. So you're going to bring your right arm now. Again, remember to stay in your comfort zone, lengthening it up along the floor past your head and really reaching that arm. Reaching it, making it long, wiggling those fingers a little bit. And now we're going to add in the legs. So slowly letting your legs drift down to the left as the right arm reaches above. And when you've gone as far as you can go comfortably, bringing your legs back up to center. And also, if anyone is having any discomfort with the legs crossed, you can do this one with your legs without them being crossed. You can just let the knees drift to the side. So keep that in mind. If it's uncomfortable in any way, you can give it a try with both feet flat on the floor. And then we're going to repeat that one again. Reaching that right arm, lowering the knees towards the left. And when you've gone as far as you can go comfortably, bringing the knees back up to center. Good, and when you finish that one, you're going to uncross your legs. And now we're going to do what we call a steeple arm drop. So now you're going to bring both of your arms together so that your palms are touching, and you're going to lengthen your arms so they're straight and they're going to be pointing, your fingers will be pointing up to the ceiling. So palms together, elbows are straight, both feet are flat on the floor now, your legs are uncrossed. Angela, there we go. So arms are straight, fingers are pointing to the ceiling. And now you're going to slowly begin to let your arms drift to the right, keeping your palms together and keeping your arms and elbows straight. So they're not going to be able to go all the way to the floor, but they are going to drift somewhat to the side. And you're going to notice your torso has to turn a little bit to do this movement. And then you're only going as far as you can go comfortably. And then slowly with control, bringing those arms back to center. And then slowly with control, taking them to the left. So palms stay together, arms are straight. Your torso is turning to let those steeple arms drift to that side. And when you've gone as far as you can go comfortably to the left, coming back to center. Slow and smooth, and then to the right again. And when you've gone as far as you can go comfortably to the right, bringing those steeple arms back up to center. And now letting them go to the left. And then bringing them back to center again. Slowly with control. And when you get to center, you're going to hold for a moment, and we're going to add in another cross knee drift with these. And remember though, if the crossing of the legs was uncomfortable for you, you can do it with your legs exactly the way they are now. If you're comfortable with crossing a leg, we're going to cross the right leg over the left. And now your legs are going to drift to the right as your steeple arms drift to the left. So steeple arms going to the left, knees are dropping to the right, slowly with control. and only going as far as you can comfortably, and then coming back to center. When you're back to center, pause for a moment, and then we're going to repeat to that same side. So you're slowly, with control, letting the knees drift to the right as your steeple arms drift to the left. Slowly, with control, really paying attention to the turning and sort of twisting motion that's happening in your torso. Only going as far as you can go comfortably, and then slowly, with control, coming back to center. And once you're back to center, you're going to uncross your legs and switch them so that your left leg crosses over the right. And this time now, your knees are going to slowly, with control, drift to the left as your steeple arms drift to the right. And you should notice that your head and your eyes are wanting to follow your arms, and that is perfectly fine. That's what we would like to see you do with this one. And slowly, with control, coming back to center. And remember that we want everything to move slow with control. So if you are adding your head and your eyes with those arms, you want your head and your eye movement to also be smoothed out. So one more time, slowly with control, letting those knees drift to the left as your steeple arms, your head and your eyes begin to drift to the right. Only going as far as you can comfortably, and super slowly coming back to center. And once you've come back to center, you're going to go ahead and lower your arms and uncross your legs. And now, super slowly, I'm going to have you roll over onto your bellies. And once you're rolled over onto your belly, I'd like you to bring your right arm bent up to your face. Your left arm is going to lay long beside your body. And you're going to turn your face so that you're looking at your elbow. So your left cheek will be on the back of your right hand. We call this one over the shoulder, and we're going to start with just the upper body first. And I like to do this one on an exhale as well. So take a nice big inhale first. And now as you begin to exhale, you're going to lift your head, elbow, and chest, gently looking over that right shoulder, thinking of bringing your right elbow somewhat towards the ceiling, but remember to stay in your comfort zone. And now super slowly, with control, lower your head, your chest, and your elbow back down to the floor. As slow and smooth as you can. And make sure to rest. And now we're going to add in the lower part of the body. So you're going to be lengthening and lifting your left leg. For anybody that is new to somatics, please make sure to stay in your comfort zone and only lift this leg as high as you feel comfortable, which really should only be a foot or two at the most. We're going to start with an exhale again. So inhale first. And exhale, lengthen and lift your left leg as you lift your head, chest, and elbow, gently looking over your right shoulder. Hold for just a moment and super slowly begin to lower back down to the floor. And make sure to rest when you finish that one. And one more time, starting with an exhale. So inhale first, inhale. And exhale, lengthen and lift the left leg as you lift your head, chest, and elbow, gently looking over the right shoulder. Hold for a moment. And super, super slowly lowering back down to the floor. As slow and smooth as you can, really working for nice, smooth control. And make sure to rest when you've finished. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So please don't rush. If you finish that one, you can go ahead and switch. So now your left arm will be coming up to your face. And you will be resting your right cheek on the back of your left hand. So you'll be looking towards your left elbow. And we're going to start with just the upper body again for this one. So inhale first. And exhale, lifting your head, chest, and elbow, gently looking over your left shoulder. Hold for just a moment. And super slowly begin to release as slow and smooth as you can. And make sure to rest. And now we're going to add in the lower body as well. So you'll be lengthening and lifting the right leg. So again, we'll start with an inhale. And exhale, lifting your head, chest, and elbow, lengthening and lifting the right leg as you gently look over your left shoulder. Hold for just a moment. And super, super slow, slow and smooth, lowering everything back down. And when everything is back down to the floor, make sure to rest. And repeating that same one again. Inhale first. And exhale, lifting your head, chest, and elbow, lengthening and lifting the right leg. As you gently look over your left shoulder, hold for just a moment. And super slowly begin to lower. Super slow and smooth. Lowering everything back down to the floor. And make sure to rest. And we're going to do one more on that side. So inhale first. And exhale, lengthening and lifting the right leg as you lift your head, chest, and elbow, gently looking over your left shoulder. Hold for a moment and super slowly begin to release. Slow and smooth as you can. So remembering that when we're doing our slow, smooth release, we're really paying attention to if we feel any bumps or glitches in that movement. And that's what we're trying to smooth out. And we're always working to make the movements even smoother and even slower. And I know some of you are probably thinking, holy moly, how could we go any slower? Trust me, you can do it. All right, when you finish that one, make sure to rest for just a moment. And then you're going to slowly roll over onto your back again. And you'll be going back into the position of knees bent and feet flat on the floor. And now if you're comfortable to bring your hands up behind your head, you're going to do that. You can either bring just your fingertips behind your ears, or you can bring your hands behind your head. If you need to put cushions under your elbows, you can. And if this position is too uncomfortable, then you can just do it with your arms laying beside your body. So we're going to be doing the full arch and curl. So we're going to start with our inhale and arch, gently rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor. At the same time, press your shoulder blades into the floor and gently draw them towards your tailbone. Tilt your head back and let your jaw open softly. Hold for just a moment. And now super slowly begin to release the contraction in your back as slow and smooth as you can. And when you're at the very end of the release in your back, you will go into flatten by bringing your pubic bone towards your ribs down towards your pubic bone. Bring your elbows together now and gently lift your head and chest into a soft curled position. Hold for just a moment and super slowly begin to lower back down. So really focusing on your tummy muscles now as you slowly, with control, let your head and your chest come back down to the floor. And once your head is resting comfortably on the floor, you will slowly let your elbows drift back down towards the floor. Slowly with control, letting them open softly the whole way, as smooth and slow as you can. And when you finish that one, make sure to rest. And then we're going to do one more. So inhale and arch, gently rolling your tailbone forward and down into the floor. Press your shoulder blades down into the floor and think of drawing them towards your tailbone. Tilt your head back and let your jaw open softly. Hold for a moment. Exhale, super slowly begin to release the contraction in your back. Slowly releasing the contraction in the back of your neck. Slow and smooth. And when you're at the end of the release, going right into your flatten by bringing your pubic bone towards your ribs towards your pubic bone as your low back flattens. Bring the elbows together. Gently lift your head and chest into that soft curled position. And hold for a moment. And super slowly with control, lowering your head and chest back down to the floor. Slow and smooth as you can. And once your head is resting comfortably on the floor, slowly letting your elbows open up. Super slow and smooth. Good. And when you finish that one, without rushing, you're going to go ahead and lengthen your legs back to the position you were in when we did our first body scan today. And if you had your arms laying beside you, then you will lay them there again. And we're going to start at the top of our head again. So if you did roll your head gently from side to side today at the beginning of class, please do that again now. And just notice if you feel any more comfortable, if you feel any lengthening, or if you feel more relaxed. And moving from your head and neck and into your shoulders. And comparing how your shoulders feel now to how they felt at the beginning. Moving from your shoulders down through your arms. Thinking about how your arms were, where you had them placed at the beginning of class and where you have them now. And then moving from your arms back into your torso, coming down through your abdominal muscles and into your back and hips. How does your low back feel now compared to when we started? How do your hips feel now? And moving from your hips down through your legs, all the way to your feet. And once you've finished your body scan, you can roll to your side and come up to sitting position.